So yeah, we are back. Now I would like to introduce our next speaker. His name is Semenchuk. He is the CEO of the Public Union Virtual Assets 2030 and the director of Web3 Institute project. Web3 Institute project is actually a very good and interesting project, which is doing a lot of good things. And Max, welcome to our virtual stage. We would love to hear more insights from you.
Sure. Thanks so much. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you well. I'm editing your presentation.
Okay. Is it already showing?
Yeah, it is on the screen.
Great. Thanks. So yeah, hi everybody. I would like to present to you the Web3 Institute and the researches we do for the Web3 opportunities for developing the digital economy of Ukraine. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm coming from the business and engineering background, working in the R&D for more than 15 years, and the latest years in the blockchain field. Did some outsourcing, product management, and DIOs, refi, and decentralized science as well. So it was always on the intersection of the social, public, and technology. So that's, I think, what led me to becoming the CEO of this public union. I'm gonna describe a bit later. And with this public union for quite a few years now, we're working side by side with Ministry of Digital Transformation in order to advance the state of the Ukrainian market of virtual assets. So the story, how it all came together, starts, I think, in 2020. So around the time, initially the team was formed in the Ministry of Digital Transformation around this market. And I was one of the experts in that team. And the question that really bothered me is that the field was so novel, it was really hard to kind of even understand its borders, and especially the vision, because the legislatures and the business had most of the time pretty different expectations out of it. So back then we started our big collaborative research around the virtual assets. It was done in the methodology called Foresight, and together with business, government representatives, and NGOs, different experts, more than 100 people participated in that through online and offline session. We built the initial understanding, and a number of working groups emerged around education and infrastructure. Like, how do we had this vision of digital Venice, strong economy, like freedom, and what kind of working groups or projects would support that vision, led to the creation of the public union itself, and also a working group on the usage of blockchain in the governmental services. Through this years, a number of businesses, you can see on the right, and different partners supported our programs. One of the key projects was was a public course on crypto literacy, published on the DIA portal. So it's fully available, free, online, showcasing different aspects of crypto. It was developed with businesses, but also some of the governmental workers participated in it, like cyber police. And it was also intended for general audience, experts, and even the government itself, because still the concept is quite novel. So we need to advocate for this. And this year, we started to think more about the technical capabilities, the infrastructure. there were already a number of cases developed in Ukraine for the Web3 public registries and so on. But there was no consistency or the strong movement or like a platform with like funding that would supported the systemic development of the Web3 ecosystem connected together, like everybody was using on technology and so on. So since the start of the year, we started to work on that, studying the like almost every advanced country has its own blockchain strategy. So we started like we explored all of them and studied our own concept of Web3 economy, but understood quickly that it's not enough just to have a paper. Even the best paper that would be produced won't be sustainable for the long-term future until 2030 if we want to rebuild it. So we need a like form of institution to support implementation of the program. And thus, the public union, led mostly by businesses and NGOs like Virtual Assets, together with ministry, initiated this Web3 Institute project. When we were studying all of these strategies for different countries, say Germany or Singapore or India, it really showed that every country has its own, there's no cookie cutter approach. Every country has own needs, and the recommendation in most of the cases was to develop high value use cases. So as we were like again in the state of war and looking for the how we can use Web3 for that, the topic of the economic recovery was something everybody shared. So when we engaged Ministry of Finance, say, or economy, or anybody else, this is the topic that quickly took on attention. Like, how can we support this? This is like the dire need of our country, and the usage of resource, efficient usage of resource, engaging more resources to the economic recovery. All of that are the things where Web3 can contribute. Another big topic is the digital trust and security, and of course, anti-corruption. So due to the effects of immutability, transparency, where are the best places we can apply it? Maybe humanitarian supply chains or some ownership rights, or maybe the identity solution, how to preserve the personal data of our citizens. So this is another big topic we're keeping in the mind. The third topic is the integration. It also means a few things. First of all, of course, as we saw back then, the integration of the DeFi, let's say, and is beneficial for both, but still has a long way to go before they will be working tightly. And besides that integration, we also can speak about the integration of Ukraine to the European Union. So, of course, we are closely following the development with the EBSI blockchain and the sandbox, and we intend to build something that would be easily integrated with the European framework on regulation and the technical level. And the ESG impact, it's like we can speak about the needs of the energy markets, the centralized energy markets, financing green energy, financing sustainable agro. So, like promoting the citizen engagement in decision making, all of that ecological and social governance impact topics are something also we keep important to us. So, what is the Web3 Institute? It's basically a platform of different players, and we collaborate together on the products and the policy infrastructure. So we provide the full cycle services from the diagnostics. So we're doing a bunch of researches to understand the current state. We're now working towards the more experiments, supporting, incubating pilot products, and then monitoring the success of the whole program and the policy of the virtual assets market with Mint Digital and other agencies and businesses. From the other side of our institute, there are different experts. We could say that tech, legal, and economical expertise are being keystones for our work, and in general facilitation of innovation, R&D space. So together, all of that combined seems to be the solution for the improving the relation of the between the public and the private sector, because most of the projects we're speaking about are like public private sectors, not purely one-sided. This year our team has grown, so you could see new faces here, maybe some of them we're super happy to have experts and PhDs and prominent leaders like Mitro is one of the authors of the current law on virtual assets. Valerie has launched this educational program, and she will have a speech in this conference regarding the program and the plurality research we're doing. Mike is our partner from Switzerland. Dima will be presenting the research on the needs of the businesses and the founder's vision to the Web3. So I hope somewhere during the conferences you would get to connect with more of our experts, and we also always looking for the talent. One of the biggest emphasis I would probably do on the research that happens, so like that is happening or would happen or happened. So I already mentioned you this foresight research on the website of VA 2030. There is like a 100-page report and like a shortened version for English, like maybe 10 pages on the results of this research. This is like a really foundational document for all of that, what we do. Besides that, earlier this year, we participated in the global report on the Web3 ecosystems, providing the list of the conferences, players, universities, and so whatever happens in Ukraine. It's going to be published, I think, end of this year. Currently we're working like soon to be published, and sometime during the conference you would hear about the report that is briefly called Talk to Founders. So the idea is that founders are in the forefront of innovation. They possess the unique insights to what really drives markets. So if we want to engage their perspective to the governmental policies, so we're asking them about like what are the current like stoppers, obstacles on the way to in Ukraine, and how in general they see the usage of Web3. Really interesting research. It also touches 50 founders from all of the different types of businesses. So really recommend you to listen to that. Another big research I'm involved in is the study of the current Web3 government projects. So it's not something which is discussed frequently, but of course those cases appear since 2017. One of the maybe longer shots is the CBDC, of course. We are yet to see the development of it, but Ukraine was among the first to start testing out the blockchain technology back then. But not only CBDC, there's also projects, say, in the supply chain, like in the timber industry. There is like international NGO that facilitates the responsible usage of timber products, and together with the Ukrainian agency, they piloted on the scale of a whole region the supply chain of the wood. So the restricted wood won't come to the markets or would be controlled. So we also have like quite significant problem of our woods. So besides supply chain, it's also the immutability of the auction records. So of course, this is like the early experiments. We're gonna draw some conclusions out of that to make it more systemic, to make it more goal-driven, and share the knowledge among all the other participants. So please stay in the loop. We'll publish it maybe in the nearest months. One of the other interesting projects is the plurality book translation. So one of the speakers here would be also Glenn Vale, one of the really well recognized researcher in the Web3 space. And we were happy to support the translation of his book, and the Minister of Digital Transformation of Taiwan on the influence of the technology like Web3 on the democracy. It's a really interesting read that provokes thought, I would say. And finally, we currently are working. There's like a strategy, innovation strategy, that is built for the Ministry of Digital Transformation and the Ministry of Education, and we are working on the piece for the digital economy in it. From the ideas about what can come next, already we of course have a bunch of ideas. Some that are more formed are around the research of the global professional education programs. So we would like to understand what are the best practices and courses, and what can we like learn and borrow from the global expertise on the educating Web3 professionals to bring it to Ukraine, and about the usage of Web3 for the energy cooperatives. Like maybe any cooperatives, but energy cooperatives specifically in the face of our struggles here. So also would like to say a few words about the education. As I mentioned, we have this course. This is a big course because it got over 7 million views and around 20,000 of participants. And we're gonna work towards the development of the program, including more of the content there, like structuring, implementing suggested improvements, working on the English version for the global audience, on the interactive part of it, so people would have more practical skills. Another focus is the integration of it in the universities. We currently are piloting it in one of the Ukrainian universities, but we see already some needs in terms of preparation of the teachers so they can assist this course and promote these courses, about the certification of it so it would become an official part of the program and can add scores to the students. We're looking at the topic of the financial literacy overall, and approach to investments in this field, working with like younger audience. And here we're really open to the collaborations. If you do something in the education space, we definitely want to talk. And also another like interesting field for us is the piloting, incubation, and acceleration. So probably the next year we would be working a lot on those kind of projects. I can't I will share information gradually as we will reach agreement about the like processes and partners. But what I can share already is that most prominent use cases are, for example, in the identification. Like as you might know, DIA application is like one of the best sellers on the global scene for Ukraine and is used by the super like big percentage of Ukrainians. So we're thinking about the access to the Web3 ecosystem, how to preserve the security of it, privacy of it, connected with the trust that country can provide or government can provide. And it might come as well in attestation, but also zero knowledge technologies. So we're thinking, how can we become even more advanced in the identification field, still preserving the human rights aspect of it. Of course, supply chain is probably one of the most clear cases, and cases regarding the rebuilding of Ukraine, like improving the trust to the process from the other countries and other like partners, being able to track the like materials or funding from the start to the final checkpoint, to the projects done. So make it really transparent. Also in the aspect of the controlled goods, maybe like alcohol or something like those, tracking of those things seems to be a good case for Web3 implementations. And finally, the public goods funding. So we're also looking at ways to engage citizens in the process of rebuild with a way to, for example, vote for priorities or impact the priorities with the mechanism like quadratic funding. It's going to be described also, I guess, in Glenn's presentation about the novel ways to fund public goods together. If you are looking into any pilots or projects in the Ukraine, it's also very interesting to get in touch and see where we can support you and make the process easier in the integration for the government. So on this note, I would like to thank you, open up the floor to questions. I'm always available for contact on the email, and check out the websites. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to speak to you. Thanks. Sergey, you're on mute once more.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, I'm muting myself because there are some noises on the side, and yeah, basically, yeah, it was very insightful, and I would like to tell you more, ask you more. Can you share some additional details about um, the virtual assets 2030? So most of the presentation was focused on the Web3 Institute, and if there is something you can share that may be helpful for the audience to understand what is happening and what are the plans, what are the activities.
Yeah, sure. So the Virtual Assets 2030 as a public union was formed like briefly after this foresight. So as like the government is kind of more of the facilitator of the process with the businesses, the specific programs and projects were mostly on the shoulders of like private sector, you could say. So for that, it was formed to enable those kind of projects to receive funding from the businesses and hire experts to do those projects like this educational project. It's called Virtual Asset 2030 because the program or the vision that we developed was until 2030. In the board of it, there are like for example, CEO of Haken or like Yuskutum, so various active players in the field of crypto and virtual assets in Ukraine.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you so much for this. So let us ask the audience for the follow up questions, if there are any. So yeah, there are no questions. And Max, thank you so much for being with us. And yeah, I will start the introduction of our next speaker.
Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah. Bye bye.